everyone, it's Mandi Vee, and I am here with Deborah Rhodes, D.A. Rhodes, who's a talk show host and also an author. And she has an incredible amount of pursuits that she's done, a lot of accomplishments, including not only the radio show, but also books that we're going to talk about, Why, and then also The Day Hate Stood Still. So we're going to talk about those, and also her nonprofit organization. She just has a wealth of great opportunities available. And for anyone who's interested in pursuing anything with regard to writing a book, or maybe you haven't really thought about sitting down and getting the grit done, but you are kind of contemplating it, this is the woman that you need to listen to. This is the woman that you need to be in close circles with and to find out more about her work and what she does. So with that being said, hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to sit down and talk to me. First thing I want to talk about is your nonprofit organization, which is Bringing Literacy to Life, correct?
Mm-hmm. The Rhodes Literary Group, and
Yes.
our tagline is Bringing Literacy to Life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many times when I'm out selling my books, I'll try to get someone to come over and talk to me. You know, can I tell you a little about my book? Oh, I don't read. And I don't know if that's true or not, but we hear that a lot, especially in our community, that we are not reading. And so I want to have an organization where we are literally bringing literacy to life, where people find it engaging, exciting. This is something that they look forward to doing, and that's kind of what we're all about. Aside from helping people who want to start and finish a book and learn how to publish and market and all of those things, we're really into pushing people to that next level, from getting the thought of writing a book out of your head to, hey, I just finished my book. Would you like to buy it? Yeah.
And that's a big roadblock. I know from personal experience and from others I've talked to, is that they have the desire to write a book, but then they think about all the roadblocks. They think about, first of all, time. Oh, I'm doing a million things. I just don't have the time to sit down and write a book.
Right.
And I know for me personally, one of the pitfalls I have is just spending too much time on one part. Like, I have to make sure a paragraph is perfect before I move on. And then you lose your train of thought. And then you're like, you know what? Forget it. I just don't have the time. So in addition to that, pitfall that I have, are there other pitfalls that you've experienced with people that you've talked to that maybe is preventing them from going forward with writing that book?
Trying to make sure that the book is perfect as you are writing it, you will never finish the book. So throw all of that out of your mind. It doesn't have to be perfect, because at this phase of your writing process, no one else is going to see it except for you. So you can think of it as like a diary. These are my thoughts. These are my feelings. This is what I want to express at this moment in time. And once you purge yourself with the information, now we can start the rewriting process. And now you can begin to mold this lump of clay that you've put out here on the table and get that done. So that's people's, first hurdle. Time is another obstacle that people say, I just don't have the time. Well, we have the time to do whatever it is that we want to do.
True.
We have time to go to work every day. We have time to take care of our children, our families, whatever it is. We have time to do what's important to us. So if writing a book is truly important to you, then there will be some sacrifices that you have to make. And so maybe you don't start off writing 4 or 5 hours in a day, but how about you get up an extra 30 minutes in the morning, or stay up an extra 30 minutes at night, or instead of taking your full 1 hour for lunch, how about taking 30 minutes of that and just writing? Get the process starting. It's like when I started exercising, I couldn't do a whole hour of what the trainer was trying to tell me to do, but I didn't stop going because I wanted to get healthy. So I took it day by day and, feet by feet. And that's what you need to do.
For your books, I was flipping through them, and I was looking at the length, and they're about 300 to 350 pages each. How long, and I know this is what you do, so it might not be accurate for a beginner or a novice like myself, but how long did it take you to write each individual book? Like, break it down in terms of time per day, minutes per day, or hours per day, and then how many days?
Okay. So let me first start off by saying the total time that it took me to write this first book was 8 years. And the reason why it took me 8 years is because I allowed time and life, procrastination, and doubt to get in the way of me completing this book. So at the end of 8 years, I only had 50 pages done. But because I had made a commitment to myself and got an accountability partner, that person helped me to complete the book, and it took me 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
The accountability is the huge part of it that a lot of people, miss. Because if you don't have anyone to keep you on schedule, to be, on your neck telling you, you have to, and then you have to set deadlines for yourself, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Have this chapter completed by this date, and, so forth and so on. So I think that's a huge part of what people are missing. But the thing about it is that you realize that, and you got it done.
Right.
And to know that you could have gotten it done in 4 months is incredible. So that's hope for people. If you really put your mind to it, it can be completed in less than 6 months.
It definitely can.
Right.
With me, my accountability coach, she asked me to be realistic with her. How long do you think it'll take you to finish this book? And I said, and this was in August, I said, I could do that in about 4 months. She said, okay, then that's what it will be. Now here's the catch. I don't care what happens in your life from this day forward until the end. I need 100 pages every month.
Okay.
I was like, I can do that. That's not a problem. So I calculated out how many pages that would be per day and an hour and da-da-da-da-da. But as soon as I walked away from her, all hell broke loose in my life. But my accountability coach didn't care. She didn't care that my hot water tank had burst and my basement was flooded. She didn't care that I had to tear out all the walls in my basement. She didn't care about any of that. She didn't care about me having to travel for work. She didn't care that I was trying to date during that time. Her thought was, I need my pages. And here's the other thing. The accountability coach, they don't even necessarily have to read what it is that you're writing. They just need to make sure that you are putting something in their hand that's holding you accountable for that. And because she was so diligent and I had enough respect for her to adhere to her rules, I was able to finish the book.
One of the things that's incredible about you and what you're doing is that you actually offer a brunch for people who are having those pitfalls and people who are having those roadblocks.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the brunch. I know that you have it in Chicago and Detroit. So, and I know the Chicago date is coming up this month.
It is. We've added an extra day to the brunch. So normally it's a one-day affair and it's a big festive come together. We'll give you some nuggets on how to start and finish your book, but we've never really delved into it. This year, I've decided to add it in a whole day where I'm dedicating it to a workshop, a writer's workshop. Okay. So in the writer's workshop, we're going to give you the tools you need to start and finish your book. We'll give you information on how to get it published if you want to go the self-publishing route, how to get out there and market your book, because that's very important. We will even talk about how to turn your book into a business, because a lot of people don't realize that when you are an author, you are now in business for yourself, and you need to look at it as such so that you can maximize even the financial benefits from having this book. And we'll talk to you about how to get a literary agent. So a lot of people may not want to go the self-publishing route. Maybe you want to do the traditional go to the big publishing houses. You'll need a literary agent, but there are some steps that you need to know in order to acquire that person. So we have a literary agent coming in from New York who has her own agency there.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about what most of us have to do until we get to the point where we want to go to, working that 9 to 5 while pursuing your dream. Yeah, so putting different things in place to set you up for success once you take that step from your job to doing this full time. That's on June 29th. That's from 9 to 3 at the Hilton. And then the very next day is the brunch. And that is like a culmination, so to speak, of the workshop. We'll have New York Times bestselling author Kimberly Lawson Roby.
Okay.
She is known for her Curtis Black series. So she's been in the game for 30 years or so. She'll be there. We'll do a one-on-one interview with her. I'll be there talking about my books and other independent authors. We encourage book clubs to come out because this is their opportunity to get to meet their favorite authors and, you know, take pictures, autographs, and some of the independent authors are even invited to book clubs to speak and present their book.
Okay.
So it's a platform for aspiring authors, independent authors, and book clubs and people who love to come out and have a good time on a Sunday afternoon. You want to come out and have a good time and eat great food. It's an all-you-can-eat brunch buffet on Sunday. Yes. So if you want to come out, and we have great music, I do giveaways, and I forgot to mention also we do a scholarship that we give to a either a graduating senior or a college student who's majoring in journalism or creative writing. So that's our way of giving back and helping, you know, to pay it forward.
That's
at
awesome.
the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
So you come out, dress up, wear your Sunday brunch hat. Just come out and have a good time.
Where would people go to register or to sign up for the event?
So they can go to the Rhodes Literary Group.com, and Rhodes is RHODES, literarygroup.com, or they can call our hotline 708-913-7287. 708-913-7287.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you would also be talking about your books, and I read just the synopsis on the back of each of these, and already I'm like, okay, I need to get both of these books because, first of all, your first book, Why, it touches on issues, especially in the Black community, that are not often talked about, and you know, they're kind of hush hush.
Yeah.
So what was it? Your inspiration behind writing this type of book, and what made you decide to cover this type of topic?
Okay. So the topic that we're talking about in Why is child molestation. And I do it in a fictional way. So I take you on the journey through the Box family as they migrate from East St. Louis to Chicago. And when they get to Chicago, there is a murder that happens within their family. And now they decide it's time to open up and tell the family secrets as to why that murder really happened. The twist with this is I allow the murdered victim to give his side of the story too. And I do that because not for you to either like or dislike that character, but I want to bring some understanding into his psyche, because people don't just wake up one day and decide that they're going to commit a heinous crime. There are things that have been, you know, boiling under the surface for years. And so I take you through that journey with him as well, and just give you a good understanding and make him real for my readers. I got the inspiration because I was going through a divorce, and my mother and one of her sisters decided to come and visit me. And they started talking about an uncle of theirs who liked to kiss his nieces in the mouth. But fortunately for them, it was all innocent. That's just the way he showed affection. But my imagination took me to, well, what about girls who don't have such an innocent experience with the men in their lives? And so I began to ask the question, why would God allow little girls to be molested by the very men who claim to love them? And so that was the birth of Why. And
then you followed up with the same family in your, is this more like a sequel.
It is.
Okay, The Day Hate Stood Still.
Yeah.
And I was reading the plot on the back, the plot summary, and it mentioned that it was funny. You know, I saw the word funny stood out to me because I'm like, well, how did she manage to make this topic funny? So
Yeah.
I was curious about that.
I mean, if you think about it, regardless of what it is that we go through in life, when we're talking about family, everything is not so depressing. There are high moments in our lives, even when we're going through the worst moments of our lives.
True.
And so there are funny moments throughout the book, because they're just like any other family. And I try to give you make them as three-dimensional as possible.
Okay.
So even though they're going through their trials, there's still some ups in their lives. So that's how we were able to do that. No, it's not comedy, but sometimes the tragedy, you have to laugh from crying.
Oh my God, that is so true.
You have to do that.
That is so true.
So with the second book, I bring you up 20 years to 1980 Chicago, and the backdrop is when Mayor Harold Washington is about to become the first African American mayor for the city. And the city is all excited about this wonderful thing that's about to happen on the political front. But the Box family, they're now dealing with yet another tragedy that they have to explore and figure out how do they get to a point of forgiveness and redemption. If you would like to get information, we even have a commercial about the first book on the website. So you can check that out. Order them through the website if you like. But yeah, we'd love to get your support.
For someone who wants to write, I don't know, like a DIY book, or someone who wants to write an inspiration book based on personal experiences, is it like, you know, there's a trending time, you know, like with stocks. At certain times it's hot, you strike it when it's hot, but at certain times it's, you know, kind of a lull in the market. Now for books, is there a time where you have to consider the market with regard to what category of book you're thinking about writing? Like maybe now is not a good time to write an inspiration book because people aren't really looking into that. Or do you just go from your heart, you write what you want, what you feel, and just put it out there?
That is the advice that I always give people. Write what is authentic to you, and don't worry about necessarily the masses accepting what it is that you have to offer. Find the audience that will connect with what it is that you're talking about. Okay. That's what makes your book, you know, good and sellable. So there could be a million inspirational books out there, but your job is to find out what makes your book unique in that particular genre. Okay. And once you figure that out and you're writing from that authentic place within you, then your book will come to life, and you will have the success that you need with that book. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you had anything else? No. Okay, I was just gonna say, if there's anything else going on, you know, that you're working on and you want to share it, just let us know, and then as well as your social media platforms, so we can make sure we follow you and make sure that we're abreast of everything that you have coming up.
You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, D.A. Rhodes, RHODES, and Deborah Rhodes 1 on Twitter. Yeah, and of course the website again, the Rhodes Literary Group.com. And the most important thing that we have coming up right now is our Authors Brunch, which is taking place Saturday, June 29th and Sunday, June 30th at the Hilton on 93rd and Cicero. We would love for you to come out and glean from the expertise that these professional people have to offer on those days. You will not be disappointed.
Well, thank you again so much, Deborah, for taking out time to speak to me and to share your books and to share the knowledge about the brunch and your nonprofit. I commend you for everything you're doing and the inspiration that you are providing, you know, to everyone. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, this has been Mandi Vee Media. Thank you all for tuning in.
Kia.